It's 11 p.m. You're still answering emails. Your partner's asleep. Your kids are asleep. And you're thinking, is this really what success looks like? Here's the thing that nobody tells you about entrepreneurship. The work is never done. You can always find something new to do, a new opportunity to explore, a task that needs to get done, a new idea to sketch out. There's always another fire. There's always something. And somewhere along the way, you will just end up convincing yourself that this is the price for success. You miss dinners, you skip workouts, your partner asks why you're always working so much, your kids say, "Daddy, why aren't you home more often?" And you tell yourself, just a few more months, just another quarter, just until we get this milestone, just until we get this revenue number, just until I get this thing off my plate, or just until I accomplish that. And my friend, this is the treadmill of entrepreneurship. And if you let yourself, you will ride this treadmill forever. But the milestone moves, always moves. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to break down what I have learned over the last 10 years of being an entrepreneur. I also am the founder and CEO of Hire UA, a global staffing firm, and I talk to dozens of founders, CEOs, and business leaders every week. And let me tell you, a lot of us, we all struggle with the same thing. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to get off the treadmill of entrepreneurship and actually enjoy your life while scaling your business. The first framework that I like to use is to get brutally, honestly clear about what the hell you actually want out of your business. And I don't mean some vague grow the company or be successful kind of nonsense. I mean actually being specific. How much money do you want to make? Do you want to fly business class? Do you want to fly first class? Do you want to fly private? Are you okay flying in economy? If you're trying to build a $100 million business, you are probably going to be working more than someone who builds a $1 million business. That's just math. That's just the reality of it. Neither is wrong by any means, but you do need to know which game you're actually playing, because if you're trying to play basketball on the football field, obviously it's not going to work out very well. Many people will spend years grinding only to find out that the number maybe isn't as big as they want. If you really start breaking it down, I would say for most people in the world, if you make, say, $1 million a year, that is $80,000 a month. That is enough to do just about almost anything, and I would say there's definitely diminishing returns past that level. That's where you got to start being honest with yourself, is how much is enough? How much do you want to make? Because again, if you don't know what game you're playing, you're never going to get there. I was actually an older entrepreneur, one of my Hire UA clients, that actually asked me this. He's like, this is what you should do, like to get to the next level, is sit down and say what you actually want. And when I sat down, I broke it down. I talked to my wife and we talked about all the goals for our family and what we wanted to achieve in life, where we wanted to live, the lifestyle we wanted to have. The number wasn't as big as I thought. I think most people would be genuinely surprised how little their freedom number actually is. So ask yourself, what do you really want? Not what Instagram tells you want, not what other people tell you want. What do you, the entrepreneur, want? And what does your family want, your closest ones, your loved ones? Once you answer that question, you can design your business around the life that you have now and the life that you wish to achieve, instead of letting your business design itself around you, which is what most of us do when we start a business. And by the way, if you're realizing that you need help building these systems or hiring the people to do exactly this is exactly what we do at Hire UA. We're a premium global staffing firm that sources talent from around the world. We help entrepreneurs delegate the right way so you can focus on what actually matters and not let your business completely own you. Link is in the description, hire-ua.com, but let's keep going with the video. The second thing that I always like to keep in mind is that the work is never done. You must accept this, and it will never, ever be done. You can always find 100 or 1,000 things to do in your business. The laundry list of things never, ever gets smaller. I'm shocked every week because I'm an old school, pen and paper kind of guy, and I'm shocked at how many times I go through this and the whole page is filled up by the end of the week and it's all crossed off, and yet the app that I move it from, so I have basically an app on my phone that I write down everything I need to do, and I transfer the important stuff to the pen and paper, and that's already full again, and it's pages long. It just never ends. There's always another email, always another fire to put out, another strategy to test, another optimization to make. And if you're going to wait until the day that, everything is handled before you can take a break, then I hate to say it, but you are going to be 6 feet under in the ground on that day. Yeah, it's going to happen when it kills you. Here is what changed everything for me. I stopped trying to do everything all the time. Instead, every night, the night before I go to bed, I write 3 to 5 important things that I must do the next day. And then first thing in the morning, I wake up and I go and execute those 3 to 5 things. Not 50, not 20, not 10, 3 to 5 big important things that move the business forward. And once I finish those, I'm done if I want to be. If I choose to do nothing else with my day, if I choose to go play at the park with my kid, or I go choose to play golf or do whatever else I want with my time, I don't let myself feel guilty about it. And it is hard. Sometimes I still do feel guilty, but I try my best not to feel any guilt. No, I should be doing more. No, I should do this too. No, done. 3 to 5 things. Some days I finish by 11 a.m. or noon. And you know what I do? Whatever I want at that point. And I'm not going to feel bad about it. And here's the crazy part is that I'm usually happier and the business grows faster because I actually got the important things done. Because if you give yourself that list of 50 things, you look at it every morning and you say, oh God, I'm never going to get this done. And then you don't do it. And then you feel worse about yourself. And then you wake up the next day and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to get all these things done from the day before. And it's this never ending loop. Whereas if you limit yourself, less is more, 3 to 5 things, all of a sudden, you feel good about yourself. And the momentum kind of spirals from there. You have to stop confusing motion with progress. I have stopped and I try my best not to do busy work. I try to do productive work. I try not to do stuff that actually doesn't matter. And most of it really doesn't matter, to be honest. Every time I look at the list, I'm like, does this really matter if I just never did this? And 90% of the time it doesn't. When you accept that the work is never done, you stop trying to finish and you start finishing what actually matters. I said the word finishing a lot there. Framework number 3 is to have buffer days. So basically you should have, flex days and you should have buffer days. So this is from Strategic Coach, I believe. So this one is fairly simple, but most people screw it up. You need days for meetings because that's one hat. That is CEO, that is leader, that is manager hat. That is one hat. And you need days where you can sit down with a blank canvas and go to work. And those are the focus days. You can't usually do both on the same days. Some people can, but you'll usually be less effective in that case. Some people are really energized by meetings. They love being on meetings. They love logging into Zoom or Google Meet. They love talking, and other people don't. Other people feel drained by it. They feel stressed by it. They hate the reminders. So you need to figure out which one of those you are. But as a business owner or CEO or founder, you have to probably be both in many cases. So you got to figure out if you're someone who loves them and you should have lots of meetings, or if you are someone who needs time to themselves. For me, I try to do all my meetings on Monday. I get the worst part of the week out of the way. I don't mind meetings. Sometimes they energize me, but I don't like having too many. And the thing, my personal pet peeve is that if I'm in my focused mood, I don't want to be interrupted at 2 or 3 p.m. for a random 20-minute meeting. That is how I structure my days, is Monday is the day where, I tell my assistant Maria, put everyone here, you can just absolutely kill me on Mondays. I don't care as long as the rest of the week is relatively open. And here's what happens when I do that. On Mondays, I show up focused, present, ready to go, maybe with a little bit of dread, depending on what meetings they are, because I know that the rest of the week is going to be open and I can sit down and I can get into the projects and I can do what really needs to be done in the business. And so that allows me to be a better leader on Mondays and early in the week, as opposed to later in the week when I'm trying to patch everything together. I'm doing one type of work whenever possible, one day. So look at your calendar right now. How many days are a hybrid? How many days have a couple hours of meetings and then a couple hours of work? Because that usually doesn't work. Create the buffer days and protect them ruthlessly. And finally, framework number 4 is just getting good at actually delegating. And I don't mean just handing stuff off and hoping that magically it works. I mean actual structured delegation, where people are accountable and they know what they are accountable for. If nobody knows the game, I'm going to say this again, if nobody knows the game, you can't expect them to play. Most people delegate tasks. I delegate the outcome. That is a huge difference. If I tell someone to schedule my meetings, that's a task. If I tell someone I need my calendar optimized so that the last 4 days of the week I have free to focus on what actually matters in the business, that is an outcome. The outcome is me having better focus and better energy. There is a huge difference. The clearer you are about what done actually looks like, the more effective the person that you are delegating to will end up being with the task or outcome. I call it the definition of done. Every time I assign anything to anyone, I sit down and say, what does done actually look like? And it has made me many, many, many times more effective. What does the finished product need to include? What is the deadline? What must go into it? And I write all of this down, and it will take more time. It takes more time to think things through and write it down clearly, but you get all the time back when the outcome is actually delivered. Make sense? And then, of course, if someone doesn't deliver, we have a conversation. Accountability is not about micromanaging everybody. It's saying, I trust you to do this, now go and do it. When you get this right, delegation becomes a superpower, not a chore. And that is when you actually get off the hamster wheel. Look, if you're watching this and you're saying I don't even know where to start with hiring and delegating and building systems for my business, I get it. That's why I built HireUA. We help entrepreneurs figure out how to delegate, and then we go and find the top 1% of global remote talent, put them in your business, and make sure that they succeed in it. We've worked with founders, CEOs, business leaders, all of whom were drowning in the day-to-day of their business, and we gave them their time back and their life back. Stop being the person with the laptop in the bed at 11 p.m. or midnight while your partner's sleeping next to you. If you want to talk about how we can help you specifically, click the first link down in the description below. And if you want to avoid hiring the most toxic employee out there, go here and watch this video. See you in the next one.